Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. You join us once again in the map editor, and we are still editing this blue hole, this hole in the ocean, what we punched into the seabed like the fist of an angry god. We have added some sandbars to the outside and some little offshore islands. There is a lot more work to be done on this map for sure, but what we have been doing is focusing on the small things in order to make the big things. So we have our party piece, which is the blue hole, like the whole blue hole in the ocean near Belize. This was suggested by Stanley Orchard and Daughter in the comments, and yeah, so we've been working away. I will just do a quick recap. So we'll turn the ocean off, and what we have is a massive hole full of goodies and bits and pieces, but not too many goodies because you don't want to, spoil your dinner. We also have this sort of shallower apron on the outside to give the I guess more gravitas to the hole itself. And of course, the game puts the islands on these large squares, and then there's a gap between the squares. So I can't help feeling that the older versions of the game, like 0.12. The island squares used to touch the seabed, and the sea was a lot shallower, but now the sea is a lot deeper. We are indeed stranded deep, as the name of the game would suggest. So we have all the stuff in here. We haven't got too much stuff. We haven't overloaded it, so there's not like a lot of loot. And the loot is only for the brave, because if you're going down there, this is what you'll see. But only when the sun is directly overhead. It is dark, it is blue, and it gets even darker on the way down. So that bit is all pretty tippity top. It is good. But we've got these little fragments of island on the outside. This is where the players will land their rafts, where they drag things on shore. We created these sandbars because it gives the island much more width, much more, I guess, bulk, without actually giving it too much bulk. So we've still got the sort of the shallower water on the outside, and it's good. It's good. It keeps the original slender island shape, but it gives you more land to play on. And if people want to come along and put houses and stuff out here, they can. It means that you just don't have this drop off into the ocean and then a drop off into the hole itself. So that's good. But I thought we could do this time, because I was talking about Bob Ross in the last episode. I think we should make a little tribute to Bob Ross. I was saying he's a pretty cool guy. But yeah, there used to be, and I don't know if it's still there, the 24-hour Bob Ross Twitch live stream, and that is like Wikipedia. If you get inside a Wikipedia hole, then you can be reading Wikipedia articles for years. Now we have this secondary island. So we have the primary island, which we made deliberately slightly bigger. We've got the grassy area and the woods and things, and we've got this slightly more slender island over here. And we were struggling for things to put on it. We've got these external islands. We've got the sort of sandbar down here. Now what I'm thinking of, we need to create a little thing. So let's get some rocks out. We're not going to spend too long on it, but yeah, we need some small rocks. These slender rocks are good, so we're going to tap R. We're going to move that onto its end. There we go. Serendipity. I actually like that where it is. All right, we'll do the same thing, and we'll rotate that round, rotate it, press T, transform, and drop it into the ground a little bit, and then rotate it so it's kind of a little bit more on its... yeah, just kind of rando. Rando. Do I want these here, or do I want them slightly further inland? It's a question for the ages, isn't it? It's a question for the ages. No, let's do it here. Let's use what we've got. Let's not fuss around. Okay, so we'll press T, drop it into the ground. So we grab the green bit, then we press R to rotate, press T to go down. We'll grab the green toggle again. So we've got these three little rocks. We'll just pop that into the mesh temporarily, bring it back out over here. We're just kind of, because it's on an angle, we're just going to have to play with it as best we can. So we've got these three little rocks, and we're creating another little vignette. These little vignettes, like we did with the ficus trees and those rocks and those plants and the palm trees and the islands and things. What we're doing is creating lots of little vignettes. Actually, from here, from like a person's height, the island actually looks pretty sweet. I'm liking this. It's coming together. It's going to be a little while before we finish it off because there's a lot of stuff we need to do to make it interesting, and it's all these little things. So we've got these little things here. You know what? We're going to have to play around with the terrain. Oh, it might be a little bit noisy. I've got the windows closed in here, but everywhere else the windows are open because, oh my word, it's pretty warm today. And when it's warm in the UK, I'm talking about 20 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. I don't even know what 20 degrees Fahrenheit would be. Is that cold? Hot? I don't know. Like, if you hear Americans talk about the weather, it's like, it's 89 degrees and I've got everything is on fire. I was talking to my grandmother and she was on fire and I was like, well, that's the thing. But I don't know what 89 degrees is. Could be nothing. I mean, in Celsius, 89 degrees is pretty freaking hot. That's hotter than you would serve coffee at. You would serve coffee at about 80 degrees Celsius and tea at 100 degrees Celsius because that's the temperature at what water boils at. Yeah, I love these sort of little detours every now and again into the world of randomness because, let's face it, we are just moving some rocks around in an island mesh with the crazy fast camera. So yeah, I'm sorry if you guys are getting a little bit motion sick. Can't do anything about it. Can't slow it down. I can hold shift to make it go even faster. That's the thing. I still maintain that some sort of way of making the camera locked, having the camera locked at a certain speed would be sweet. It'd be so super sweet. But maybe another time, maybe another update. Maybe the lads at Beam Team watch these videos. Maybe they don't. Who knows? I don't know. It'd be nice to think that somebody over in Australia is like, ooh, you know what? I like these videos. They're kind of a tasty treat for my. Actually, I upload these usually about 8 o'clock, so it would be opposite day in Australia. So 8 o'clock in the morning? Is that how it works? They're on the antipode of the planet, so they're Antipodeans. Are the clocks different as well? Not sure. So yeah, our little thing, Bob Ross thing. So what we're going to do is put a happy little bush here, right here, just on its own. There we go, and there we go. Just pop it in the ground, and then let's get some more rocks around here, so it's actually separated, like visually separated from the island. Because yeah, can we use a big rock? Yes, a big rock, and hopefully that'll blend right in. There we go. What I wanted was the mesh to actually split that rock into two visible chunks. So we're going to do this. And I just press T, and then there we go. There you go. And I think I'll move that closer to the. Okay, right, cool. Nothing else is going here. This is our Bob Ross happy little bush. Nice. I like that. That's good. Is it vertical? Is it vertical? Because bushes will grow vertical. They'll grow to face the sun. It is now. Let's see. Oh, it's clicking. It's selecting the wrong thing. There we go. No, I want to select the bush. Give me more bush. This is terrible. Game, come on. All I want to do is make sure it's vertical, because trees will grow towards the sun, and if there's nothing around them, they'll just go straight up. That's why. That's what most things do. If you have light only coming from one side, if they're growing in an overhang, or if there is like a canopy, then you might find that plants will grow off to one side before going upwards towards light. That's just how plants work. They seek light because that is where the energy is coming from. Cool. So we have, let's just hit terrain then object. So we deselect the bush. We now have a happy little bush. That's really sweet. Cool. Okay, right. We also needed to do something in order. I think we'll do it. Let's do it over here. So the other thing we were going to do is grab some rocks and make it like a little diving thing, but not like a subtle diving thing. I don't want it to be like, ooh, this is definitely a thing. So what we're going to need to do is add some rockety rocks around the edge in a way that people can still get out. So rotate this around and find a more pleasant side to the rock. There we go. So we need to add some rocks around just so it looks like, oh yes, this is normal. Not just, hey, it's a thing just placed there in order to have our little diving board thing. Huh, that's kind of sweet. All right, let's pop that in a little bit more. Let's bloop down into the water. And so we grab tell you what, if we grab a cliff, boom, that is huge, but we don't want it to be huge. So what we'll do is move that down. Oh, there we go, down. And then up. But the toggle is so far down. This is kind of awkward. It's like, there we go. I'll move the camera around. And then we'll do this. That kind of works. That actually kind of works better than what I was doing originally. Yeah, this is the problem. Selecting a rando object in the depth of nothingness. It's just in the depths. All right, I need to get that rock out of there. Hello objects. That's why sometimes I just move it slightly. Let's get rid of this object. So if you move the object and then you delete it, but sometimes it'll still jump to another object. It's like, oh, I don't know anymore. So this thing, actually, this might make a perfect base. That kind of looks like it's covered in moss. Yeah, I'll accept that. I will accept it. It is good. Most good. Small rock one. Hello. You have a job to do. So we need to make it subtle, but not subtle. But subtle, but also not subtle. Because players... Okay, so here's the thing about making maps and things. Players will try and wreck anything that you make. No problem. They will find holes in the mesh. They will go places where you least expected them to go. And in general, they're like customers. Customer is always wrong, stupid, rude, wrong. We'll have rude again. Why not? Yeah, the customer is never right. I don't know where the customer is always right comes from. It's usually used by customers who are wrong. Yeah, have you ever worked in retail? Congratulations, I've just saved you stuff. That's going to look wrong, isn't it? It is going to look wrong. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, this isn't quite working for me. We're going to need to do something else. We need to keep it short so it doesn't interfere with the hole itself. That might even be enough, you know. That might even be enough. What? Oh, I don't want to let go of this one. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. No. I might be able to use one of these bigger rocks. Oh yeah, we might actually be able to use one of these bigger. Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, I like the way that I like the way this is going. Right. So yeah, a lot of serendipity and saying so yeah, because that's just the way people's brains work, especially when you're trying to talk and build and do stuff all at the same time. It's an interesting way of living life. I would thoroughly recommend it. Did consider making a podcast at one point, and then I was like, nah. There's plenty of podcasts, but there's not enough Stranded Deep videos. So that's where we are with that. So yeah, what we're doing. Oh, so yeah, it's like the 90s all over again, where everyone was saying bogus or cowabunga or whatever it was. I don't know. We need another rock just to blend that into the ground. You will do, my friend. You will do. And we're just going to press the other T. That's the wrong T on the keyboard. And then rotate. Bring it back. Okay. So I think that might actually work quite well. Rule of 3. Plain rock. Texture rock. Plain rock. It's subtle. I'll give it that. We might need to canter it up a little bit. The idea is it's just something for people to dive off of. Let's rotate this round. It's already got that shape. From here, it's already kind of got that shape. And I should imagine, oh yeah, that lovely chiseled end. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. It's subtle enough for everyone to know what it is. But it's not so subtle people are just going to be like, oh, this is a bit odd, just sat there. Yeah, this bit of rock is not working for me. This is not working for me, and we might go back to the cliffs. There is one, cliff 3, which I always call cliff 5 for some reason. But we can rotate that round. We press T. It's got this lovely smooth texture to it on one side. I wonder how far we can get that poking out. Probably not a lot. Okay. Yeah, we might be able to do something with this. That's kind of cool. Right, we'll bring it out a little bit. Because eventually what's going to happen is we'll get the bottom of the rock showing up. And then it'll open up. And you'll be able to see and swim underneath it. And we don't want that. Because if people swim underneath it, they go, oh no, we can just swim underneath it. You did not check this map at all. I do not think you are knowing what you're doing, map maker. If that is your real name. It's not. It's absolutely not. So yeah, we just throw another bit of rock in. So we've got a rock there. We can add some more stuff. It's just like this on its own. It's just a lump of rock and it looks placed. If we add other bits of rock around it, something a little subtle, then it looks a little bit more like it belongs in the world, like it has a world to belong in. So I like adding stuff. Oh, and the rule of 3. So I might have explained this before, but I'm going to do it again. If you're explaining things to people, or no, okay, if you have guests over and you say you want to offer them drinks, you say, would you like tea, coffee, or squash? Squash being like a water-based juice. That's 3 options. If you say, would you like tea, coffee, squash, or bourbon? That's 4 options, and people think in 3s. They don't think in 4s. So a lot of advertising will always use the rule of 3. It'll be like A, B, and C, or X, Y, Z. You always use 3 things when talking to people or giving people options, or if you're talking to children, if you have children, you don't give them options because being a parent is not a democracy. So, this is just some life tips for everyone. I don't have kids, but I do have nephews. It's like, you want orange juice? Of course you do. Because you're going to say, would you like orange juice? Or a cup of tea? Or cola? And it's like, no. You say, would you like orange juice? It's fine. Good. So we're just throwing a few more rocks in. Just throwing them in, keeping it subtle. Do I want that there? In the shade? I think... Yeah, I kind of want it there. Let's leave it there and see how it settles in our mind. I think that's the best thing we can do. I'm not going to add any more stuff to there. Rule of 3, it's donezo. We're Dunyan rings with this. Over the side, ooh. It's a happy little bush. Over the side, I know what we could do. We could do with something on the wing. I think this really needs to come out a little bit. Just a little bit. So let's grab the terrain. Set height, read the height. Blammo. So we've got the scrub stuff here. The mount is down real nice. Okay, we'll bring this out. Just gentle. So I don't want to disrupt like the island too much, but I do want some more grass showing. Just for the sake of having a little bit more texture. And the texture comes with height. So with Stranded Deep, if you want grass texture, you're going to need to raise up that old island. Raise up the island. Oh yeah, never give kids bourbon, which I'm assuming is like an American whiskey. I'm thinking it's something like that. But don't do it. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's not optimal. It's not the optimal solution. Yeah, if you've got kids and they're crying and stuff, then maybe I'd consider it, but definitely not. Not before going to school. Certainly not. So what we're doing is we're smoothing off. We just brought that out a little bit. It's subtle, I know, but it's too much. You can't have too. Well, you can have too much of a good thing. You can have an awful lot of a bad thing as well. So what we've got over here, we got this kind of shelf, and it sort of disappears off. I don't like this. We've got stuff over here. This entire arm of the island is pretty sweet. We still need to do foliage pass. We still need to put some rocks and rocky rocks down, and then you get this bit, and it just. I tell you what it feels compared to over here, where we've got this sandbar, which is real nice, and over here we've got this other sandbar, and I think I might actually keep this wreck, move it slightly, but just keep it as part of this feature. That might actually be a good thing. That might be a good thing. Hello, object, my old friend. You're going to come over here, and we are just going to leave you in the ground because this particular wreck doesn't. It has, what does it have? So it has stuff that spawns on the inside, and it has stuff that spawns on the top, but there is no lower deck. So what we can do is just have it real buried in the ground. Let's do that. So it's poking out. Good. What we might actually do is just turn the water off. Hello, water. We'll turn you off. And then we will get to the terrain. Raise and lower, there we go. Lower, amount is all the way down, like literally just 2 or 3 pixels away from not cutting through to the center of the earth. And what we'll do is just brush the terrain around the boat. So we'll lower it on this side, and then we will raise it on this side, as if the wreck sitting there has had an effect on the seabed. We probably won't even need to smooth it. There we go. Raise on one side, lower on the other. There we go. Yes, please. So there's an obvious sort of dip next to the wreck itself. I might actually just smooth this side off just because it's a little bit too high, and smoothing will reduce that height without doing too much to the thing. So what we'll do is we'll lower this around here, around the bow. There we go. I don't mind the rock and stuff actually being on the boat itself, but let's do this. And then a little bit smooth in action. Oh yeah. Subtle. I mean, it's real subtle. But it now belongs in the terrain. Instead of just being placed in the terrain, it's had an effect. It's being sat there, tide and time has affected the seabed around it. So we'll put display ocean back on, and if you swim around, of course the thing will be surrounded by seaweed and maybe even rocks and stuff, because that's what the game will do. But it's sat on like a bed of on the ground itself, so I'm happy with that being there actually. And that ties that section of the island in real nice in that sort of weird seafort thing that we had going. So we'll keep that. But yeah, this section of the island. So we've got offshore islands, we've got sandbars, we've even got a little wreck. This feels cold. It feels like this is where the deep sea comes in. You know, where if you've been at the seaside and you're paddling around in the shallows and it's all real warm and nice and stuff, and then you get to a bit and it's almost like connected to the open ocean, I guess, or you go slightly deeper and it gets very cold and it's very deep. This is what this feels like. It just feels like, blam, we're into the sea, and it's very unfriendly, unwelcoming, despite having these beaches. So I think another sandbar here would be kind of cool. We could do some more islandy stuff if we don't want sandbars. Or we could do... I don't want to. I don't want to be symmetrical on the other side. We're not so far. Kind of. We could do another island, maybe linked with a sandbar, maybe. Yeah, it might actually work. That might not be terrible. All right. Let's do it. Okay. I don't know how much of this we can do, but we're going to do it. Let's do it. So we will go and we will select a height, and we will select it from here. And then we will go over here, and no, we won't, because that's silly. Why didn't you say something? Oh, you guys. What we're going to need to do first, obviously, is make the island, then we make the sandbar. Because otherwise we're just going to be pushing stuff around, and then so we will read it, but we'll read it from here. We use the hard edge brush, and we'll come over here. We want to avoid the mouth of that thing, remembering that boats and rafts and things do not turn. They turn mighty slowly now, because that's just the way the game is. Change the size up. In fact, we can get the size from this, kind of. That'll do nicely. We're looking at the ground terrain. Yeah, that's a heck of a slope there. All right, we'll do it from here. So here? Yeah, I think here would be nice. Or here. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it here. All right. I left the amount down. It's real far down. Okay, let's raise it up. Raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. Let's not connect this one to the land. Yes. Oh, okay, so I see what's happened. It's literally raising the ground up equally. So what we end up with is something sloped to one side. Boop. Because the ground, its starting state was sloped over to one side. So now it's we've literally just pulled it up. Using that hard edge brush. If we use a soft edge brush, it would be domed, but it's not. It is not. So what we are going to do is go to objects. Hello, objects. We're going to go find some rocks. Hello, rocks. And we're going to put some cliffs around. Cliff 3. Oh, that was that lovely cliff that we used internally, and we're going to use it externally, like a topical cream. I was just trying to think, do you use topical creams internally or externally? I do not know. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Answers on the postcard, please. And then there's no postal box, so... Oh, don't know about that one. Maybe it's one of those things we don't need to know. We collectively know, but we don't need to know. Okay, fine. Cliff 5, because it's a short little cliff, and it's rather useful. This is Cliff 5. This is one I keep confusing with Cliff 3. But we can kind of push it around and have it connected. And we have this lovely, these little sloping edges. Kind of cool, little corkscrew thing going on there. Pop that down, just push it into the island itself. Yeah, alright, cool. Cool. This is going real well. What else do we have over here? Oh, I don't know. What's this one? I don't know. C. You are. What are you? I think you're Cliff 5 again. Probably. Come over here. Oh, Star Wars Episode 1. Episode droid carriers. Star Wars Episode 1. That was a really good film. Excellent plot points. And, yeah. No, absolutely not. I'm sorry, that was just terrible. Not. I don't know. Not as bad as the Last Jedi. Was it Last Jedi? Which one? Revenge of the Sith. Which was the latest one that came out? I found a lot of plot points, a lot of plot holes with that. Admiral Holdo being one of them. It's like, hey, you know what, kids? I got the plan, but I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm thinking you can go off on a casino trip. It's going to be fun, you know? Just a little side story for you guys. Hey, have fun. I'll chew you out when you get back. Call you with rude names and stuff. It's like, oh, really? You're a commander. All right. I mean, it's one of the coolest scenes. I mean, it does end with one of the coolest scenes in Star Wars cinema. But my word, the build up to it was just terrible. Which is why I'm not really that keen for the Han Solo film. It's like, oh, we got the Han Solo film. You want to come and watch it? We're going to retcon everything to do with Han Solo that you knew and loved from the first 3 films, and then we're just going to make him terrible. And I'm like, no, please don't. No. It's not as if I can go back to Star Trek either. It's like, hey kids, we've got Star Trek 2009. It's pretty good, no? Have a little watch. And I'm like, this is actually pretty good, but it's nothing like Star Trek. It's like a sci-fi film with a Star Trek skin. It's a little bit weird to watch. There's just some things in that, like using the Budweiser factory as engineering, and using the American laser fusion reactor as the warp core. The big thing is like, oh, you know what? The warp core looks a little bit odd. We're always kind of standing over here. We're not standing around it or anything. No, that's because it's an actual real-life fusion reactor. But for some reason, North America is using one which uses a piece of fuel the size of a pinhead, and they fire lasers at it from all directions all at once, and it squashes that thing down, and it just ends up causing nuclear fusion, not to be confused with fission. Fission is where you take something that's already radioactive, and then through radioactive decay you harness the heat from it. This is not that. This is you cause energy to come out of something as it's fusing with other atoms. So fun, but not quite the same. But yeah, the American one's weird. I mean, I used to live near the jet laboratories over in Cullum, and they have a magnetic tokamak, and what you do is you put material, probably water, inside as fuel, and then you use magnetic confinement. So you got a bit of hydrogen in there, and it sort of creates things like, well, it's like a little sun. It creates helium and various other fun elements inside it. But yeah, keeping the reaction going is the sort of the grail at the moment that people are trying to work out. It's like, if we can keep this reaction going, we can have a lot of heat, a lot of energy, using water as a fuel, and we get things like helium, which is kind of needed, and a little bit of gold and stuff. I don't know if you can harness that. It's very, very small amounts. But if something goes wrong and things switches off, you just have a tube with a bit of vapor in it. You probably make a cup of tea out of what's inside. It's not like a traditional nuclear reactor where things get very, very... When things go wrong, they go very wrong, and things go bang. Good. So we've got this edge here. I think I'm going to choose an object. I mean, there's this here, but I don't think this is... I think this is might be too steep to get up onto. No, we've got a way up here. Players, if you build it, players will find a way. They always do. And we can always test it. So, okay, cool. Well, we got a thing with ficus trees on these little islands, so why stop here? So we will do this. I don't really want to put a bridge over to it. We've got one over there, and we've got a bridge over there. So let's just put a ficus tree down. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yeah, okay. I know why they used the fusion reactor as part of the film set, and that's probably because it was cheaper to turn up and do a little bit of filming than was to build a set. Interestingly, Star Trek: The Next Generation, the only reason they had engineering in is because in the first episode, the script called for Jean-Luc Picard to walk around the ship, literally do a tour of the ship, and they went, oh no, we need to build an engineering. Quick, let's do it before anyone realizes how much we're spending on the budget. And yeah, engineering was born. With a big glowy tube. Oh no, camera! We knew that was going to happen. It always happens. So we're going to put a little ficus down, a little ficus action. I'm going to leave it like that for the time being, because I want to do the sandbar. Sandbar. I think is that a? Oh wait, is that a bar near here? I can't remember. It does sound like a surfy joint. You know, you go in there, there's a bit of sand on the floor and sort of barewood floors, and they've got everyone's wearing sarongs and flip-flops. And it's like, are you surfers? And they're like, cowabunga, mate. But Yeah, your surface. Right. Are we going to turn the ocean off for this? Yes, we are. I was just going to reach for square brackets, but this is not Photoshop. Okay. We're setting the height. We're going to change the size up. And what I want is just a little sandbar here, just a little interest here. It widens the island without... let's turn the amount up. We're way too low for this. Yeah, it widens the island without widening the actual main part of the island and adds that little interest. So instead of being super cold over here, now we've got some super action going on. Yep, this is good. I like this. I genuinely like this. Is genuinely good. I mean, as opposed to figuratively good or theoretically good. It is most good. Yes. So we'll just brush backwards and forwards. The reason I'm using a soft brush and the reason I'm being real careful about it is because we need to raise the seabed up at a fairly even rate. So we need to pull out quite a way. Patience will be rewarded though. It always is with this kind of stuff. And because there's no undo, there's no control Z, you can't just go at it like a crazy man. We are brushing over this island. We are reducing the height of this island because we're using the set height brush. It might not be a good thing. Okay, we'll brush backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and complain about Star Trek and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And Star Trek 2009 was good. The music was good. Oh boy, the music was really good. It's got to be said. I mean, credit where credit's due. The score for 2009 Star Trek was brilliant. It was hopeful. We had hope after watching that. I don't know what anyone else felt, but we saw it in the cinema and it was like, yes, this is good. After Nemesis, Star Trek Nemesis, which was just essentially Jean-Luc Picard talking to himself for however long it was, and then Deanna Troi crashing the ship again. It's like, hang on a minute, every time Deanna Troi flies the ship, she crashes it. Interestingly, I think the actress, is it Marina Sirtis? She's got an interesting real life accent. I think she's got like a London accent. It's like, oh darling, apples and pears, as your father. And then she has this. There is a YouTube video on how she got her accent, like the sort of Star Trek accent, the one that she uses on the show, because that's not a real accent. I'll turn the ocean off so we can actually see the brush. The brush will appear if your face is under the water, if you put the camera under the water. So we're starting to get sand show, which is what we need. We could turn the amount up at this point. We're not brushing. I was thinking, there's something wrong here. Yeah, it's because we turn the water off and back on, but the brush just shows, and on the controls show, but you're not actually doing anything. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's delightful then. I'll just stand here like an idiot. It's like, where are you going to stand at this party? Just in the kitchen, no? Yep, doing the washing up. So we're just brushing out. Very important. So what we want to do is raise up over here. We're going to sand up. We can have it a little bit deeper, I suppose. We're just allowing the... there we go. Some stuff is beginning to appear above the surface of the sea. Nice. That's exactly what we want. We'll do the same thing over here. Brush backwards and forwards. Cool. Nice little broken bar in the middle. Nice. I think it's going to work real well. And then brush out a little bit over here. Make sure it's not all too steep. We're back in the situation where we got the cold ocean. There we go. All right, let's turn the ocean on and see what we got, because we're going to need to smooth that off. Oh yeah, we're totally going to need to smooth that off. We got basically, that's way too steep. Yeah, that's way too steep. Way too steep. We're going to fill this in a little bit. So let's do it. Let's grind the amount up. This is too slow for me. Too slow for my liking. There we go. There we go. Ah, yes, much better. And then what we'll do is crank that up, rip the knob off. That's a smooth tool. And then we'll smooth this back and it'll all disappear under the waves and everyone will be like, oh, what did you do that then? But as a way of really making sure this isn't too steep, because people might actually use this and ram their boats onto it, and you'll be like, "Oh, I've rammed a boat onto it, and it's just kind of bad stuff. What is going on? Your island is a little bit stupid. I do not like it. Go away and make me an island fit for a king." And I'm like, I already did. I made it fit for Bob Ross, and you people have no appreciation of art. Still pretty steep, but yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? So we have this that's very shallow. I think I like that being shallow though. Okay, let's read the height. Let's read it from this little bit of wet sand here. Let's leave the thing on. Make sure the amount is not cranked all the way up. I saw everyone was like, "Oh my god." Yeah, I know. I saw it. Don't worry. Turn the ocean off. Go back to the tool. And then just brush along here until we see something pop above the surface. Doesn't even need to be that tall. Doesn't even need to be that tall. So we'll brush backwards and forwards. So yeah, it's kind of a tricky thing getting the world smooth and then just be like, oh, and now I need something to just pop above the surface. So it's kind of tricky, but not tricky at the same time, if you see what I mean. There we go. All real gentle. They'll all click into place, and everyone will be like, "Ooh, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take." But no, so like I said, if it's worth doing well, then take some time over it. You know, it's like anything. Making a cup of tea. Ooh, making a cup of tea. I'm going to do it well. Yeah, well, you better be brewing that tea for like a good few minutes. You can't be pouring cold water over it. That's just terrible. Right. Okay. So we should now have something that's poking above the surface. Yes, we do. We should also have some shallow bits and some not so shallow bits because we've been brushing almost at random. We also do have that. We can't see the brush once it's under the water, but again, we can. It's just something to do with the surface mesh, the water mesh. We can't see the brush through it, but it exists. So what we'll do is we'll brush around here, just make sure there's no jagged bits. Crank the amount up. We're not. I mean, it's not going to cost us anything. Let's do that. Right, good. So we have this very, very sandy, very shallow bar. We'll do the same thing on the outside of it. Just a quick pass. There we go. Oh, yes, absolutely. So that, I think, is actually shallower than over here. Just about. Okay, right. But it's a lot longer. And it takes an idea that we've already had. So we've had an idea for offshore islands linked with a thing. We've got an offshore island linked to the shore with a thing. And then we've got one that's not linked at all with a sandbar in the middle. So it's using elements around the island. That's better. That looks way... So if I come back to where it was here, that looked really cold and deep, and it was just like, it's kind of... Yeah, I like that. It extends the island without actually extending the island. Nice. Brilliant. So we can go back to what we're doing. Throw in some rocks in. Do that. I press T. And press R. I'm going to put one on the end. So we can put some trees and stuff around there, and we'll do the same thing over here. One of these rocks is really... Yeah, I think this is not the best one to use. Oh, no. There is a surface. There is an edge to it. Okay. We'll rotate that. Press T. Huh. Cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Just something subtle. Doesn't need to do much. Just needs to be subtle. In fact, that's in the water a little bit. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like it a lot. Okay, so what have we done? Well, we have, if I click on away from the objects, we've added another sandbar, we've added another island, real quick, although it didn't feel like it. We've added Bob Ross's happy little bush. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, this is beginning to look real good. I think we're not that far. Oh, there's a helicopter. It's a big helicopter. Huh. It's I live in the middle of the countryside, and you wouldn't think that the helicopters would use my house as part of their main flight path, but yeah, that's what they do. And there's a lot of different ones, the emergency ones, the military ones. It's just like, guys, go somewhere else and fly your helicopters. But yeah, that's a little aside. Yeah, I'm thinking we're not that far off from throwing a little bit of feature on the main island spas themselves, and then just covering this place in shrubs and trees and bushes and stuff, more so than we've already got. I don't think we're too far off, to be honest. This is beginning to click in, and as a happy little accident, we've got this waterway, this sort of shallow waterway, and then bam, little bridge, so you can do a little swim. That's nice. I'm liking that. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. So, if you're liking this, definitely leave a like, leave a subscribe. And if you do subscribe, click the little bell, because you know what? That'll give you a notification when videos go live, assuming YouTube is not being YouTube and doing YouTubey things. But that's the way it's supposed to work. And you know what? I'll catch you next time.